This is kind of sweet revenge. Tim has a bad habit of recording you like in the most obscure, odd moments, and you'll just look over and he's got his phone like this.
I am so good at videos and pictures.
But his new phone has a light on it. He doesn't know how to turn it off. So
I tried it last night. It didn't work because it shone right in your face and you knew you were being videotaped.
Alex is laughing back there.
It's just for laughing purposes.
Laughing purposes.
Oh, laughing.
Laughing.
We laugh at each other and ourselves. That's how we get through this life.
That's how we get through this life. And wine.
All right.
It's one of those really tough questions that you get asked a lot. You know, I was trained in classic French style, and then that kind of laid a groundwork for pretty much everything else you do, and you find similarities in every kind of cuisine you work on. I love Mediterranean food, but I also love Southeast Asian food, so there's a sort of a merging of styles and technique there. And of course, growing up in the South, I have in New Orleans, there's definitely that New Orleans Creole influence in a lot of what I do. And I didn't really realize that for a very long time, but it just kind of kept coming out, and people would be asking me if I intended it, or it just happens.
How about you, Tim?
Well, it all started with the Easy Bake Oven when I was a kid. No, actually not. But I grew up loving food. I went to culinary school in Scottsdale, Arizona, Lake Cordon Bleu. Worked while I was in school. That's where I was exposed to local foods. Krista Kaufman, who has Rancho Pinot Grill, and she had a second restaurant called Noni's Kitchen. And she had farmers come to the door, and I started to fall in love with it, did a lot of reading and research, and, you know, prayed at the altar of Alice Waters and other kind of farm-to-table kind of pioneers, and then decided at that point that's where I wanted to be eventually. But you never take a linear path through life, so my cooking path has definitely not been linear. It's been tangents, left, right, all over the place. And I think that I was able to experience a little bit of everything, from a burger joint when I got out of school, to doing baking and pastry, to managing in front of the house, owning a food truck, which Ryan and I did together, owning restaurants, successful, not successful, seeing good, bad, the ugly. It's really helped shape me a great deal.
You pick up a little bit of everything you do everywhere. It's like being a musician and playing a bunch of different styles, and you kind of pick and choose things that, whether you realize you're doing it or not. And of course, farm to table is where my passion lies. You know, getting incredibly fresh, great ingredients, and trying to do as little to it as possible, because they just sing when you don't do a lot to them.
What do you think about the availability of the local food farm culture here, as far as what the farms can provide for your restaurant?
It's great. I mean, given the size of the island and given the limitations land-wise, they do a great job. We're also blessed with right across the water, some of the most fertile land in the whole country is Skagit Valley. It's known throughout the country for how fertile the soil is. So when you combine the farms that exist from Mount Vernon all the way up through Bellingham, when you combine that with what you can get from Orcas, Lopez, and San Juan Island, it's one of the most unique places in the country. And I've just spent the last 5 months in Sonoma, and the farmers here, particularly when you look at it more in a 30-mile circle, can compete with anything I think California offers. So that was one of the things I learned. They're just blessed with slightly better weather this time of year. So.
Here is a talk with two chefs. What? You're trying to coach me.
And interview.
Oh, and
Here's to many of these interview things.
oh, that's right.
Yes.
Right.
Talks.
Here's to talks with Chefs Patrick.
And more on their way.
Absolutely.
Young-
I had no
young
trouble
Anderson.
not looking at
Thank
the
you.
camera until this moment, and now I just keep
No,
staring
we
at
just
it.
can't not looking at
I can't
the
help it.
camera.
It's really